Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, now in a different background because we are in a more technological setting today. The reason is because in this video we shall explore ChatGPT. So, if you don't know, ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence tool that was developed by OpenAI, and it allows you to engage with an artificial intelligence that will give you human-like responses to whatever you ask. So, for instance, it could be, cooking recipes, it could be, comparing products to, let's say, decide what you want to buy. But in my particular interest is education. And many people, like many students in particular, have been using ChatGPT to help themselves with their assessments. But also ChatGPT has the power to, for instance, give you a complete full essay or answer the questions that you may get as an assignment. And that's a challenge for us educators, right? Even the IB, the International Baccalaureate, has approved the use of ChatGPT in the elaboration of the essays for the students. I will leave you a link below with those news. So I decided to put ChatGPT to a test. If I challenge ChatGPT to an ancient philosophy, ancient Greek test, will ChatGPT pass the test? We shall see in this video. Welcome. And spoiler alert, it does not pass the test. Alright, so this is the interface that you are, faced with when you enter ChatGPT. And I shall now start engaging with this artificial intelligence. So, first of all, hello. I'm always very polite with these artificial intelligences. Well, you never know. But also, ChatGPT builds on the context of the conversation that you are having with it. So, the more you engage with it, the more it will be able to understand what kind of requests do you have. So, it says, hello there, how can I assist you today? So, let's ask the first question. Do you know anything about ancient Greek philosophy? Ancient Greek philosophy. Now, yes, immediate response. I have knowledge about ancient Greek philosophies. It's very confident, right? And starts giving us, let's say, like an introduction to what would be considered ancient Greek philosophy, which is a very standard definition. It starts, in Greece, 6th century BCE, and then expands to the Roman Empire, and now here highlights, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. So you can see that very quickly this artificial intelligence is giving us some sort of a background. Even Pythagoras, Heraclitus, Parmenides, and Epicurus are mentioned, and mentioning, as far as I can read here, true facts about them. However, this is, of course, very not superficial, but at least general. Let's say it's very general, so it's hard to miss in these points. So I'm going to ask things that are going to be progressively more specific to see the depth to which ChatGPT can engage. So let's ask about Plato's Republic, if you will. So do you know Plato's Republic? And yes, it does, of course. It does, Plato's Republic. So gives us, the Republic is one of Plato's most famous works, and it's a dialogue between Socrates and several other characters. That's true. The book is an extended exploration of the concept of justice, also true. And Plato uses the dialogue to offer his ideas on how society should be organized, also true. And starts going in depth with this. So, whereas it is true that Plato's Republic is about justice and the constitution of the ideal state, there are many other topics that are touched there, right? So, for instance, throughout the Republic, the last paragraph explores a wide range of topics, including education, the nature of the soul, and the relationship between the individual and the state. That's all true. Now, I'm going to focus on a particular part, and a very famous one, of Plato's Republic. So, do you know Plato's Allegory of the Cave. And yes, of course it does. So far, ChatGPT is ChatGPT is passing our test. So it does know. It's one of the most famous passages in all of philosophy, and is found in Book 7 of Plato's Republic. Also true. Book 7 starts with the Allegory of the Cave. So in this allegory, Plato compares human beings to prisoners who are chained in a cave and can only see shadows of objects projected onto a wall. Also true. I'm going to skip this since, as I said at the beginning, it is very general, and also all of this is true. These artificial intelligences, what they do is gathering things that they have already put into their memory, sort of say, and they connect all these sources and give a human-like response. If you read this, you can tell that it's very well written. It's very surprising. Like, it's a great summary of the ideas contained in them. Now, let's see how deep this artificial intelligence knows Plato's Allegory of the Cave. So, first, an introductory question. Do you know ancient Greek? Because if ChatGPT can give us this Allegory of the Cave in ancient Greek, I think that would be really, really cool. So, look that it's taking some time. Sometimes the time that it takes depends on the servers. They may be very busy, but I'm now recording this video sort of late at night, so that they're not as crowded, let's say, so we can enjoy a more fluid, let's say, experience interacting with it. But you can tell that now the answers are getting more clumsy, let's say. Not clumsy in the sense of the content, but rather the speed. So, as an AI language model, I have been trained on a vast amount of text, including ancient Greek texts. This is great for us. And have the ability to recognize and understand ancient Greek words and concepts. However, I do not have the capability to speak or write in ancient Greek. If you have any questions about ancient Greek philosophy or language, I would be happy to try to help you to the best of my ability. So here, this is a confession, sort of say, that the extent of training that ChatGPT underwent does not include the ability of using ancient Greek as a live language, which I understand happens in Latin, for instance. I'll make a video in the future about that if you're interested. But the fact that it cannot speak to us in ancient Greek does not mean that it does not know ancient Greek, and particularly this passage. So I'm going to ask, do you know Plato's Allegory of the Cave in ancient Greek? Yes, and it can provide the text. So here it is, taking its time to put all the Greek with all the different accents of ancient Greek. But it says, here is the original text from Book 7 of Plato's Republic. So it says, Andragar tina idein en noi megale heteran tina homoian tenton hemerayon orasei. So just from that sentence, because if my memory doesn't fail me, and also I have my Plato's Republic here, that is not how this text starts. In transliterated form, the first sentence of the Allegory of the Cave would be, Andragar, oh, this is great. Look, ChatGPT gives us the transliterated Greek so that we can read the ancient Greek, but using our Roman normal vocabulary. It is over here. If you want to check it out or pause the video if you want to read it with calm. But I am going to show you now what the actual ancient Greek passage of the Allegory of the Cave says in ancient Greek, and you'll realize that it's nothing like this. Alright, so this is the Perseus Digital Library. If you don't know it, is one of the many, well, not that many, websites that have a collection of ancient Greek texts, but also Perseus Digital Library has digitalized some official translations of the text, like proper translations. Normally, at least for Plato, they are rather old or outdated. So you can find, old English kind of ways of conveying the ideas that appear in the Greek. but the translations so far are legit. So it's just like outdated in terms of that people don't normally talk like that anymore. However, it's great. So we shall look here for the digital version of Plato's Republic. So you don't have to, read my book that has a very tiny font. So I will put Plato in the search. We search, and we see many of the texts from Plato's dialogues that are here. And we go to the Republic. It has it in Greek, as you can see, and also in English. So if you wanted to read it in translation or in parallel to this one in Greek, you can do so. But we will check the Greek now. So the Allegory of the Cave appears at the very, very beginning. It's the first lines of Book 7 of the Republic. So, well, this is Book 1. When you open the text, it starts in Book 1. But I'm going to close here in the table of contents, Book 1. And now open Book 7. I open it, and I choose the section 514A. 514 is the page, A, the section, let's say, the column. I will talk about this at some point, why we have this kind of a standardized way of referring to Plato's texts, but also Aristotle's and any major philosopher. It's a great way of knowing that you're in the same part of a work, regardless of the translation. So you're seeing now the text that ChatGPT gave us, and you can tell here that it is nothing like we're seeing. Here we have meta tauta de eiponapeika son toyuto patheiten gemeteran fusion paideias de perica paudeisias. So it is nothing like it. That's why as soon as I read the first sentence of it thrown by ChatGPT, I immediately knew that that ChatGPT did not pass the test. This is not what the Greek test says, and I know this one by heart. Is a typical one. If you're Greek, I think most of my Greek friends who have endured, let's say, this kind of training because it's mandatory in school, etc., they know the Allegory of the Cave because it's one of the classic texts to translate. So even if I check the further lines, because the Allegory of the Cave follows the next, you can also see that in this next page, this is 514b, also we cannot find anything like what ChatGPT showed us. So, but not even a sentence. So that's the dramatic thing. You can pause the video and check on your own with tranquility, with a peace of mind. Just going forward so as to show you how far this goes. 514c, nothing. And I can continue. But then soon after this, the Allegory of the Cave ends. So we know now that ChatGPT does not pass the test of providing a reliable ancient Greek text. So because of this, I will go back to the screen with ChatGPT and demand explanations to our beloved artificial intelligence and see what happens. So here we are back to the place where we left our conversation with ChatGPT, and I will ask further questions. So I want to understand why this happened, because if you think about it, if ChatGPT has the ancient Greek text, it should be as simple as to put it together and deliver it as it was introduced. But this may mean that it does not have the text, but still it gives us an answer. However, the answer is wrong. So I will give the machine a little explanation. So I checked my ancient Greek text of the Allegory of the Cave, and what you gave me does not correspond to the official Greek text I have with me. Could you please revise the ancient Greek text you gave me? Always very polite, but also trying to make it very, very clear to the machine what I want. This is very useful if you're going to interact with ChatGPT. The more precise your questions, the better responses you'll get. So I apologize for any confusion. Yes, we were a bit confused, but the confusion didn't last long. So the text I provided was a transcription error. So, okay, this is the reason ChatGPT gives us. But again, ton men estin horan en nomoi megaloi anthropon homoion. Again, this is not the text that we encountered in the previous section, like not even close. So interestingly, ChatGPT gives us again an ancient Greek text, and it's again an ancient Greek text that is wrong. I will not insist that much with this artificial intelligence. It escapes me why this may happen, what's the source of this error. However, I want to ask one further question for the test, and the last question that I had prepared. So, what is the page and line of the text that you just gave me? So, let's say, I apologize, sis, but since the original text of Plato's Republic was not divided into pages or lines, there are no specific pages and line numbers for the text I provided. That's not true. The text I provided is the beginning of Book 7 of the Republic in ancient Greek. That's what ChatGPT says, but as we just saw with Perseu's Digital Library, that is not correct. If you have any a particular edition of the Republic with a specific numbering system, I may be able to help you locate the corresponding passage. So, let's delve a bit deeper into this. I have the standardized Oxford standardized. How do you write standardized in English? Let's say like that. I don't know why it's put in red. Maybe Chrome can tell me. Standardized. Okay, I was missing one. Sorry for that. I have the standardized Oxford edition of Plato's Republic in Greek. It says that I will put a little trap. Book 6 of the Republic ends in 511. This is true. It's in 511, and let me check before I don't want to commit a crime against this. 511E. Ends in 511E, but this is a little trap because 514A is where Book 7 starts. Okay, Book 6 ends in 511E, but it doesn't just jump into 512, but it goes to 514. So let's see what the machine says. It says that Book 6 of the Republic ends in 511E. So where does Book 7 start? Let's see. I'm excited about this. Thank you for providing that information. According to the Oxford Classical Text Edition of Plato's Republic, Book 7 begins on page 389, marked as 369 on the text itself. And the first sentence of the passage that includes the Allegory of the Cave starts at line 514a, which is very, 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 very interesting. So, having provided the information about which classical text one has, then it understands that it's 514a, and that is correct. However, the response is erratic, because it says that Book 7 begins on page 389, and that's very, very far. That must be like Book 1. If you give me a moment, 389. No, not Book 1. It's Book 3. But still, very far from Book 7 in pages. So, look at the irony. The Allegory of the Cave is the first thing that appears in Book 7 of Plato's Republic, and that is indeed 514a. That is correct. But at the same time, ChatGPT tells us that Book 7 begins on page 389, or marked as 369 on the text itself. So, maybe it's... I don't know. I thought for a moment that it was referring to the pages I have on under, let's say, my actual book. So you have the standardized numbers, and your own book or edition or print has others that is the normal amount of pages, that the actual physical pages that you have. But in that case, it does not coincide either. So this is my Republic book from the Oxford translation. This is book 7, the beginning. I don't know if you can see it well. And it says that it's 259 in my edition. So I hope you can see it clearly there. Sorry, I'm trying to point it out a little better. 259. So, so far not passing this test. So here's the beginning of book 7 in ancient Greek, along with the first sentence of the passage containing the allegory of the cave. So this paragraph is correct. Like the first sentence of book 7 is the first passage, first line of the allegory of the cave. However, I will put here that just that first line, and again, the text is not the same, which is very, very impressive. Like the first line, it's not even resemble the one that I read out loud in the previous section. So I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any further questions. So I will not insist on how ChatGPT gives these responses, but it is very, very interesting that these mistakes not only happen once, even when you rectify the artificial intelligence, it gives you another sentence in Greek that we cannot find in the actual Greek text that we can access. And when rectifying, it also provides another wrong part. So it misses the lines and it misses the Greek text, which I find very, very interesting. So after this, what can we say, right? So if you wanted to use ChatGPT for your ancient philosophy needs, you need to be very careful, because when it's about summarizing contents from ancient philosophical texts up to a very general level of knowledge, the machine is fine. You know, the summaries of the things that it was providing were actually very accurate and very succinct, which is something that we philosophers sometimes struggle with, right? We're normally people of many words, but ChatGPT gives you, boom, the essence, you know, the nerve of the argument, as a professor of mine used to say in my undergrad. However, if you want to go deeper, or at least in my field, in a more professional way, that is engaging with the ancient Greek text, then as we saw, ChatGPT is not at all reliable yet. You know, these technologies are progressing so fast that at the moment of recording this video, today is 9th of March 2023, ChatGPT is not reliable for this, like at all. Like, please do not even consider it, because unless you have a way of checking the actual Greek text that you would use, you know, normally, the standardized one, then if you don't have access to that, please do not use ChatGPT. However, I can't stress enough how useful that tool ChatGPT is. I think it's incredible, the power of these new technologies that are putting in check, let's say, to use a chess analogy, putting in check the educational system as a whole, because now we have a very eloquent machine that can give human-like responses, and I think that is an incredible tool. An incredible tool that we need to learn how to use. And by learn is not relying on it blindly, but rather still engaging critically with the contents it provides. It sort of reminds me of something that my mathematics teachers used to say when I was younger, like, hey, you need to learn how to calculate these things because you'll never have a calculator in your pocket at all times. And then by the time smartphones, or not even smartphones, even the previous generation to smartphones arrived and everyone had a phone, actually all those teachers were like, ridiculous. You promised me that I would have to learn this by heart and have this skill, because I will never have a calculator, but I now have one at all times. So why to put an effort into this? Well, because whenever you put something into the calculator, to continue with this analogy, and the result, does not like fit anything reasonable, you would know that because you had the previous training. So I think that at this stage, ChatGPT is sort of the same. You can use this tool, no problems with that. However, if you don't have done the same training, let's say, in this case with ancient Greek, then you will not be able to recognize when ChatGPT is making a mistake. And at least from this example that we examined today, ChatGPT did not pass it. So, well, thank you for watching. If you are interested in knowing more about ChatGPT, I will leave an interview that was made in British television with ChatGPT. So it's the journalist, and he's talking to ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is giving answers, and they're using a software to put the text ChatGPT gives into a voice. So you can learn more about it. I think it's really, really fascinating. However, it is good to understand the limits of the tools we have. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share this with your friends, and, well, let me know what you think about it in the comment section. Until next time, my friends, and please use these tools carefully. Till next time.